time. That is, it's City Council Live time. We do gavel to gavel coverage of the Philadelphia City Council on the Thursday editions of Reality Check. And we are waiting on the Philadelphia City Council. Actually, we're waiting to hear that gavel, or at least that virtual gavel. Philadelphia City Council still meeting virtually. And as far as we know, we'll continue to meet virtually for the foreseeable future. Maybe they'll just do that through the duration of this current session before they head into a summer break. So we are waiting the Philadelphia City Council. Welcome to City Council Live here on WURD. You don't get any kind of major big city legislature having their gavel to gavel session of the whole covered on a major media outlet. You don't get that anyplace else other than Philadelphia, and you don't get that on any other station other than the home of Black Talk Media, WURD. So, and that's one of the many things that makes WURD special. Of course, and having a variety of conversations here on Black Talk Media throughout the day on a daily basis, and conversations that you can use as well. I'm Charles Ellis, and I'm your anchor for City Council Live. So we're just waiting on the City Council, and
Test. This is a statewide required monthly test of the Emergency Alert System, originating from the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, Harrisburg. This is only a test.
capital Washington, D.C. So it's been a rather dramatic week in Washington, D.C. So I'm sure you've been watching all that. Yesterday, we did see some afternoon to evening activity in the House as the House of Representatives voted on legislation to activate a commission to investigate the insurrection that happened on January 6th. So as predicted, actually passed the House, Democratic-controlled House. Democrats obviously don't have to deal with a filibuster like they have to deal with in the Senate. But of note was that 35 Republicans, 35 Confederates, I'll explain that later, but 35 Republicans actually voted yay to pass that bill, to approve that commission. And so that legislation heads over to the Senate. So 35 Republicans joining Democrats in passing that. So Mitch McConnell, minority leader in the Senate, Republican Confederate senator out of Kentucky, saying that he is not going to let this pass. There is not an expectation for any Republicans, at least not 10 Republicans, to vote for that bill to get that commission activated, to get that January 6th Insurrection Commission activated. Because of, once again, the filibuster. So there have been some calls for Democrats to just go ahead and do a commission anywhere, to do some sort of inquiry anyway. There are a number of theories and a number of thoughts on how workable that is, how politically feasible that is. I know that there's one prominent thinker, one prominent longtime expert in governance, Norm Ornstein, who was having a conversation recently with the Washington Post, and was saying that that's probably not a good thing to do, a good route to go, especially politically. It's kind of fraught with political peril for Democrats, believe it or not, and it could be fraught with some political peril for President Biden as well, and it could actually sort of add some fuel to the Trump fire. But what he was saying is something that should be explored and something that should be looked at is the Justice Department using its ability to create a probing committee or a probing commission. The Justice Department is a unbiased, nonpartisan player or vehicle, is a nonpartisan, unbiased government agency. At least that's the way it's supposed to operate, right? And so they do have authority, they do have power to create civil and criminal probes, civil and criminal investigatory committees, and so that's something that should be explored by the Attorney General. That's at least, and that could be very effective as well, and then that could also accelerate the pace at which the Justice Department could prosecute crimes if crimes are found in the course of that investigation. So anyway, that's the most recent development that's happening on Capitol Hill. So we're keeping a very close eye as that situation evolves. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 as we wait on the Philadelphia City Council. So they're about 10 minutes late, but that's not unusual. They've been better than they were in the past, but perhaps the explanation for that is that they are virtual. So there's not a whole lot of excuse for them to be late or to be excessively late. There was at one time where it took Philadelphia City Council on average about an hour after official start time to finally get started. So we haven't had much of that problem since City Council has been meeting virtually. So, but we're still waiting on them. We should be very shortly, or momentarily at least, hearing the voice of Philadelphia City Council President Darrell Clarke. I'm at Ellison Report, by the way, on Twitter.com, at Ellison Report on Twitter. Tag me there. Also, hashtag Reality Check. And for the purpose of this City Council live broadcast, we are at hashtag City Council Live. That does become active on Thursdays on City Council Live days. So, as we wait, once again, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Oh, here we go. Woody out of Winfield is calling in for a reality check while we wait on City Council. Mr. Woody, how are you doing, sir?
Good, man. I'm just happy to get through to you. Yesterday I tried hard in between customers, but of course the customer always wins in the end. I wasn't able to get a hold of you, but just wanted to congratulate you for everything that you're doing. And I'm very proud of you myself, but I keep thinking about your grandmom, because my grandmom played a big part of my life as well. Charles Barkley, when he used to come in here, when he was playing with the Sixers, he would always talk about his grandmother. Grandmothers have had such a big part to play in many cases, and so many of them have done so wonderful. So I put that shout out to all grandmoms that are listening, and mothers as well, but particularly you. I mean, you don't stop. James Brown, he's about the hardest working guy in show business, but I have to give you that name as the hardest working man on radio right now. So you continue to do the same work. I also heard you and Joanne from the Women's Leadership together right before the election, and you guys did a great job together as well. So I left her my number, I left you my number, and I want to follow up with you guys because I got something that I think can work, man. It can really help.
I'm sorry, we got to let you go because Philadelphia City Council is coming on right now. Thanks for calling. Thanks for those kind words, too. Let's go to Philadelphia City Council President Darrell Clarke.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. I understand that state law currently requires that the following announcement be made at the beginning of every remote council session. Due to the current public health emergency, City Council is currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make this remote meeting possible. Instructions for how the public may view the meeting and offer public comment are included in the stated meeting notice that was published in the Daily News, Inquirer, and Legal Intelligentsia, and can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I now note that the hour has come. The clerk will please call the roll to take attendance. Members that are in attendance, please indicate that you are present on whatever you may say choose when your name is called to ensure that your image is displayed on the screen. Mr. Decker, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, and the City of Philadelphia. Good morning.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues. I am present.
Good morning.
Councilman Dom.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, and the City of Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Gauthier.
Good morning, President.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilman Green.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Council staff. Good morning to the city of Philadelphia, where it's always sunny.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Kim.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I am present.
Good morning.
Councilman Heenan.
Good morning, Council President, and good morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
Councilman Johnson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Prayers goes out to all families who have lost loved ones to gun violence.
Good morning.
Councilman Jones.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilman O. Councilman O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Parker.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues in Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Good morning, Council President and colleagues.
Good morning.
Councilman Squilla.
Good morning, Council President and colleagues present.
Good morning.
Councilman Thomas.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the listening public.
Good morning.
Council President Clark.
Good morning to everyone. We've established a quorum. The council will now come to order. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Pastor Edmund T. Sherrill of the Mount Enon Baptist Church. He is here today as the guest of Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson. I would ask that all members and guests to please bow your heads for the invocation. Pastor, please proceed.
Let us pray. What a friend we have in Jesus, all of our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Gracious Father, we come to you today, asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support as we begin this meeting. We thank you for each city council member gathered here today. We acknowledge the many burdens they carry into this work. We pray that you would guide them by your wisdom, support them by your power, and keep them pure in heart. Unite us today in the bond of love. Keep us faithful to all that is true. And we pray that you enable this leadership to uphold the right of others. Do not allow them to be corrupted with fear or favor. So we ask today for guidance in this meeting. Show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. And then, oh God, we pray in humility and understanding that we are not competent in and of ourselves to handle the increasing gun violence that has overtaken our city. So we look to you to be our help in a time of trouble. We pray for the residents of our city. We grieve with those that grieve in this city, remembering those who we have lost. Bless the work that is before this city council today. May every decision they make, every phone call that they pick up, every email that they respond to, may it be done with the spirit of excellence. Turn us again and open our hearts and remind us of the truth of Jeremiah, that in the welfare of the city, we will find our own welfare. And so in all we do and all we say, may we seek the welfare of the city of Philadelphia. This is your servant's prayer. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. We really appreciate your support, your spiritual guidance this morning. We really need it. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Council President, I just want to interrupt to say that I am present.
Good morning, Councilman O. Let the record reflect the Councilman O is present today.
Thank you very much, Council President.
Our next order of business is the approval of the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May 13th, 2021, and the chair recognizes Councilman Squilla.
You're on mute, Squilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Majority Leader, for your guidance. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting on Thursday, May 13th, 2021 be approved.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the journal of the meeting on Thursday, May 13th, 2021 stand approved. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and the journal is approved. And our next order of business is request for leave of absence. And the chair recognizes Councilwoman Sherelle Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the members of council, there are no requests for leaves of absence today.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks to Councilwoman. Our next order of business is communications. Mr. Decker, can you please read the messages from the mayor and any other communications that you may have in your possession?
Yes, Mr. President. From the mayor to the president and members of the council of the city of Philadelphia, I am pleased to advise you that on May 19, 2021, I signed the following bill, which was passed by council at its session on May 6, 2021. Bill number 210139AA. And I am submitting herewith for the consideration of your honorable body a resolution confirming the reappointment of Barbara Adams as a member of the board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2025. And a resolution confirming the appointment of Natalia Dominguez as a member of the board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2027. And a resolution confirming the reappointment of Barbara Moore as a member of the board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2024. And a resolution confirming the reappointment of E. Mitchell Swan as a member of the board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2026. And an ordinance amending Chapter 9600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Service and Other Businesses to modify the requirements to operate a self-service laundry. And an ordinance authorizing the Director of Planning and Development on behalf of the city to file applications with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for a community development block grant, to file applications to participate in the Home Investment Partnership Program and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and to apply for a Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS grant. All under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. Our next order of business is the introduction of bills and resolutions. And by way of a reminder, we are asking that all resolutions, including privileged resolutions, be placed on a final passage calendar for our next session of council, unless they are being referred to committee. In our current remote environment, this procedure will provide an appropriate opportunity for public comment. I want to thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation. Mr. Decker, will you please read the titles of the legislation that's being offered today by our members?
Councilwoman Parker offers 4 bills on behalf of Council President Clark, entitled an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Cecil B. Moore Avenue, 20th Street, Oxford Street, and 21st Street. And an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Thompson Street, extended 6th Street, Girard Avenue, Percy Street, Harper Street, and 13th Street. And an ordinance amending Title 14 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Zoning and Planning to revise certain provisions of Chapter 14500 entitled Overlay Zoning Districts by amending the NCP North Central Philadelphia Overlay District. And an ordinance amending Chapter 14900 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Signs by providing for new sign controls entitled 1900 Market Street Digital Display Sign Regulations.
Those 4 bills will be referred to the appropriate committee.
On her own behalf, Councilwoman Parker offers 2 resolutions entitled a resolution recognizing and congratulating Dwayne H. Bum on his retirement and 25 years of distinguished service to the City of Philadelphia Department of Commerce.
Next week's calendar.
And a resolution honoring the life and legacy of James V. Nixon Jr. and recognizing his impact on the Philadelphia arts and culture community.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson offers 4 resolutions on behalf of Council President Clark entitled a resolution confirming the reappointment of Barbara Adams as a member of the board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2025.
Next week's calendar.
And a resolution confirming the appointment of Natalia Dominguez as a member of the board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2027.
Calendar.
And a resolution confirming the reappointment of Barbara Moore as a member of the Board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2024.
Next, Campbell.
And a resolution confirming the reappointment of E. Mitchell Swan as a member of the Board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2026.
Next, please, Campbell.
And on her own behalf, Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson offers a resolution urging support for Pennsylvania House Bills 1204, 1206, 806, and 244, focused on addressing disparities in education, strengthening career and technical education, and creating workforce development opportunities.
Next, please, Campbell.
Councilman Jones offers two bills entitled an ordinance authorizing non-accessory parking on the premises located at 4422 through 24 Ridge Avenue.
For the committee.
And an ordinance amending Chapter 122700 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Permit Parking Districts by amending the boundaries of Permit Parking District 16.
For the committee.
Councilman Johnson offers one bill entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 14-1000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Historic Preservation to establish a temporary demolition moratorium with respect to properties in the area of Christian Street between Broad and 20th Streets.
For the committee.
Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez and Councilwoman Gauthier offer an ordinance amending Title 14 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Zoning and Planning by revising certain provisions of Chapter 14702 entitled Floor Area, Height, and Housing Density Bonuses, and by making related changes.
For the committee.
Councilman Green offers one bill on behalf of Council President Clark entitled an ordinance authorizing the Director of Planning and Development on behalf of the city to file applications with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for a community development block grant, to file applications to participate in the Home Investment Partnership Program and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and to apply for housing opportunities for persons with AIDS grant.
For the committee.
Councilman Green offers on his own behalf two bills entitled an ordinance approving the amendment of the fiscal 2021 capital budget, providing for expenditures for the capital purposes of the Philadelphia Gas Works, including the supplying of funds in connection therewith, subject to certain constraints and conditions.
For the committee.
And an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2022 capital budget, providing for expenditures for the capital purposes of the Philadelphia Gas Works, including the supplying of funds in connection therewith, subject to certain constraints and conditions.
For the committee.
Councilwoman Gauthier offers three bills entitled an ordinance establishing a parking regulation in the vicinity of Fraser Street and Spruce Street, Ludlow Street and South 58th Street, Udall Street and Larchwood Avenue, Reinhard and South 47th Street, South 48th Street and Reinhard Street, Bering Street and North 32nd Street, Brandywine Street and North 34th Street, Hamilton Street and North 35th Street, Haverford Avenue and North 32nd Street, Haverford Avenue and North 40th Street, Wallace Street and North 33rd Street, Mandela Way and North 46th Street, Mount Vernon Street and North 33rd Street, Preston Street and Bering Street, St. Malachy's Way and North 46th Street, Spring Garden Street and North 40th Street, North 31st Street and Hamilton Street, Sansom and South 49th Street, South 61st Street and Walnut Street, Irving and South 51st Street, Ruby Street and Market Street, Pine Street and South 46th Street, Mount Vernon Street and North 32nd Street, North 42nd Street and Bering Street, and State Street and Powelton Avenue.
For the committee.
And an ordinance to amend the master plan for the University of Pennsylvania by areas of land located within an area bounded by Chestnut Street, 33rd Street, Ludlow Street, and 34th Street.
For the committee.
And an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Civic Center Boulevard, University Avenue, Spruce Street, and 34th Street.
For the committee.
Councilman Squilla offers on behalf of Council President Clark an ordinance amending Chapter 9600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Service and Other Businesses to modify the requirements to operate a self-service laundry. And on his own behalf, Councilman Squilla offers an ordinance amending Chapter 14,500 of the Philadelphia Zoning Code entitled Overlay Zoning Districts by creating a new section entitled HHC, Heliport Hazard Control Overlay District. And an ordinance amending the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Allegheny Avenue, Collins Street, Westmoreland Street, and Tulip Street. Councilwoman Bass offers one bill and one resolution entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Philadelphia Zoning Maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Broad Street, Erie Avenue, Hunting Park Avenue, Wissahickon Avenue, Railroad Right-of-Way, Clarissa Street, Juniata Street, Germantown Avenue, Hunting Park Avenue, and Roosevelt Boulevard.
For the committee.
And a resolution supporting the All Faiths Vaccination Campaign's efforts to achieve vaccination equity by hosting vaccination clinics in Philadelphia's underserved Black and Brown neighborhoods.
Next week,
there are no other bills or resolutions being offered today by the members, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. That concludes our introduction of bills and resolutions. The chair, Councilwoman Parker. Chair, Councilwoman Parker.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm here.
Can you take the helm for like 3 minutes? I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Sure, Mr. President. And Council Member Jones. Okay, because the next is reports from committee, Mr. President, and so we'll just move accordingly, okay?
Yes.
So the next order of business is reports from committees. Acting as chair, I recognize Council Member Jones for a report from the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whoop. Thank you, Madam Chair. The Committee of the Whole reports one bill with a favorable recommendation.
So one bill, Councilmember Jones, and 6 resolutions?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. The Chief Clerk will please read the report.
Yes, Madam Chair. To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee of the Whole, to which was referred Bill number 210074, entitled An Ordinance Repealing Chapter 21-1200 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Police Advisory Board, and replacing it with a new Chapter 21-1200 that reconstitutes and renames the board as the Citizens Police Oversight Commission, and, as authorized by the Charter, provides for the Commission's appointment, the powers and duties of the Commission, and the manner in which the Commission and other officers, employees, and agencies shall fulfill their respective responsibilities with respect to the Commission. And Resolution number 210098, entitled A Resolution Appointing Chris Barnes to the Board of Directors of the South Street Head House District. And Resolution number 210099, entitled A Resolution Appointing Katrina Johnston Zimmerman to the Board of Directors of the South Street Head House District. And Resolution number 2100, entitled A Resolution Appointing Adam Zakin to the Board of Directors for the South Street Head House District. And Resolution number 210101, entitled A Resolution Appointing Allison Harvey Hindman to the Board of Directors for the South Street Head House District. And Resolution number 210102, entitled A Resolution Appointing Monica Thompson to the Board of Directors for the South Street Head House District. And Resolution number 210103, entitled A Resolution Appointing Adam Shapiro to the Board of Directors for the South Street Head House District. Respectful reports, it has considered the same and returns the attached bill and resolutions to Council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. The Chair recognizes Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the rules of Council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of Bill number 210074.
Second.
Second.
All those in
It has been moved.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bill number 210074. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the ayes have it, and this bill will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. Resolution numbers 210098, 210099, 210100, 210101, 210102, and 210103 will be placed on the final passage calendar for our next session of council, and I now see our council president has returned.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Sorry for the brief confusion.
He keeps us sharp every now and then, just to see if we pay attention.
It's not a bad idea. Thank you, council members. Chair now recognizes Councilwoman Bass for a report on the Committee on Public Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Public Health and Human Services reports one bill with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Decker, please read the report.
The Committee on Public Health and Human Services, to which is referred Bill Number 210331, entitled an ordinance amending Title VI of the Philadelphia Code, the Health Code, to add a section establishing reporting and employment requirements related to changes in ownership or of the license holder of long-term care facilities and hospitals, all under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same, and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bill number 210331.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bills number 210331. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and this bill will be placed on our first reading calendar today. That concludes our reports from committee, and our next order of business is the consideration of the calendar. I note that the bills just reported from committee with the suspension of the rules to have been deemed to have had its first reading, and those bills will be placed on our second reading and final passage calendar at our next session of council. There are no additional bills on our first reading calendar, so the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker for the purpose of calling up bills and resolutions on the final passage calendar today.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following resolutions and bills are being called up from the second reading and final passage calendars today. They are numbers 210375, 210452, 210453, 210454, 210455, 210456, 210458, 210460, and 210360. Mr. President, all other resolutions and bills are being held.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. We will now move to our public comment. But before we proceed with the consideration of the public comment, we're going to take a brief 5 to 10 minute recess to give our technology professionals an opportunity to connect our speakers for testimony today. We'll take a brief break.
Okay, you were just listening in to Philadelphia City Council, so we'll see what the public comment period comes up with. Public comment, that's what we're waiting on right now. Philadelphia City Council taking several moments worth of break to get the technology sorted out so they can facilitate public comment. So open public comment period is coming up next. Phone lines are open at the moment while we wait on public comment. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on City Council Live while we await the public comment period in Philadelphia City Council. Also, we had some major, obviously political news in Philadelphia this week with incumbent Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner winning his race, or winning the Democratic primary, and presumably we'll have a Democrat winning the general election later in November. But also there was some drama that was happening on the other side of the state in Pittsburgh. We had Black State Representative Ed Gainey unseat in the Democratic primary there. The current mayor of Pittsburgh, Bill Peduto. So that happened. And so Pittsburgh possibly, it looks like it appears set to have its first black mayor out there in Pittsburgh. So that's also something that is being watched very closely. So State Representative Ed Gainey winning that primary, and also Gainey being described as something of an unapologetic progressive, and so that took place. The incumbent mayor Bill Peduto this is actually a surprise to some observers because he was seen as rather solid, but apparently not. So that's also happening in Pittsburgh on the other side, and so obviously black voters playing a very big role in Pittsburgh, just like they played a very big role in this district attorney's race. That's essentially what did, the few voters who did vote, because we did still have low turnout, and that still is a problem. That is something that has to be talked about, sorted out, and discussed while while we're doing the postmortem, and also while we're preparing for even bigger races that are coming up in 2022 and 2024. But black voters did save Larry Krasner. They did, come to save the day and save Philadelphia pretty much this past Tuesday. But also, seeing that activity, once again, black voter participation, black electoral power flexing a bit of muscle, progressive flexing a bit of muscle too in Pittsburgh. And so that seemed unseen, but that is definitely happening as well. 215-634-8065. Okay, City Council is back on for public comment. Let's go to it.
Public comment must concern matters of the second reading and final passage calendar for possible action at a session of council. A speaker on any of those matters must sign up in order to testify. You must call 215-686-3406 by 3 p.m. the day before the session to sign up for public comment. When you call, we will take your name, phone number, the number of the legislative item you are commenting on, and whether you are in support of or in opposition of the legislation, and add your name to the list. We will telephone each person on the list during the council session and invite them to our remote meeting. They will each have 3 minutes to speak. However, time limit may vary from time to time, but today I think we're in a position to provide 3 minutes. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, though, I do intend to hold faithfully to the established time limit. Once invited to the meeting and asked to begin your testimony, a timer will be started. We will monitor your remaining time throughout your testimony, and when there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, you will be reminded of this. Once your allotted time has passed, you will be asked to conclude your remarks. Shortly thereafter, you will be muted and disconnected from the remote meeting. I also reserve the right to limit the number of speakers where repetitious comments is being made, the same subject matter, and to limit the scope of the testimony to only certain items on the agenda during the emergency, which could affect callbacks for public comment at the meeting. Please be aware that this public meeting is being recorded, so because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. So by continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. I will now ask Mr. Decker, our Chief Clerk, to please read the name of our first speaker.
Yes, Mr. President. The first speaker we have today is Destiny Jackson, commenting on 210456.
Good morning. Just state your name for the record, and please proceed with your testimony.
I want to thank you all so much for honoring me for this award. It has been an honor to be an award recipient. Wow, I plan to attend Spelman College this upcoming fall semester. With me having over 50 college acceptances, I have approximately 56 college acceptances, and I plan to go to Spelman to double major with political science on a pre-law track in communications and media, with a long-term goal to run for president. I'm currently fundraising money to to make sure that I am able to reach my goals so that I can be able to attend Spelman College with overcoming challenges that I face every day with being type 1 diabetic and being a youth in foster care. It has been a long journey, but I just want to thank the city of Philadelphia for, being able to provide opportunities and wow, it's just an honor to be able to, move forward and be able to make a change in the world.
Thank you so much. It is our honor to honor you for the awesome achievements, and we look forward to many, many years of notoriety. And as soon as we can figure out a way to forward our mail-in ballot, give us a designation and a time frame for which you want to run for president, and I'm sure a lot of us will be prepared to mail it in early. Destiny, thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Decker. Next person.
The next speaker is Sarah Clark Stewart, commenting on 210360.
Good morning. State your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Sarah Clark Stewart, and I am calling in to express my support for bill number 210360, which will name a dog park on the north side of Winter Street as the Rob Stewart Memorial Dog Park. Rob Stewart was my late husband, and I want to thank City Council President and Council Member Helen Gim for sponsoring this ordinance. I also want to thank the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Committee for passing it a few weeks ago. Very quickly, as the ordinance lays out, Rob Stewart was an extraordinary citizen of Philadelphia who loved Philadelphia and our neighborhood, Logan Square, very, very much. And from the moment we moved here in 1995 and until his untimely death in 2011, he worked on many projects, all with the aim of improving Philadelphia and ensuring its future with high-quality life for everyone. And among his many accomplishments, he worked tirelessly to ensure that Logan Square thrived and grew and also retained its special character. And one of his particular dreams was that Logan Square continue to attract and retain new families, and he wanted to very much build a dog park and a children's playground, which now, because made possible by Council President Clark, is actually about to happen. We hope that the dog park and children's play space on Winter Street will open hopefully in June of this year. So I want to thank the City Council for this ordinance and for naming the dog park in memory of my late husband. This wouldn't have been possible without their support. And also just to know that how much Logan Square Neighborhood Association and my neighbors are excited and thrilled to be able to have this dog park named after my late husband.
Point of information.
Thank you very much. And just quickly, very much on behalf of my family, we deeply appreciate this honor.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Stewart cared about Center City, but he also cared about other places within the city of Philadelphia. He was a Renaissance man. He invented water purification systems, and in fact, Mr. President, made me have to tailor my suits. He said I bought my suits off the rack too big and insisted that I see a tailor. And I thank him and his family for that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Point of information, Council President.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jones. I'm sorry, that's Councilman Johnson. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to also just follow up and commend you and commend Helen and all the council for supporting this ordinance because in honoring the life of Mr. Stewart, because when I first decided to make the transition from state representative to city council, he was on the front line for me, like going to bat for me, had me in rooms that I haven't been in before, and really helping me make that transition smooth. And so it's very fitting that we honor his life and legacy because he was a genuine and true person. And I've been around politics for a while, as all of us have been. And you know when you meet a rare breed when it comes to a person being sincere and passionate about just truly helping people for the sake of helping people. And so I just wanted to make sure I get that on the record because he's a truly dear and near to my heart because he's a part of how I became a council person representing not only just the council person representing the 2nd Councilmanic District, but the first African-American council person to represent the 2nd Councilmanic District. And he played a major role in making sure that I was supported and also inside those rooms that I haven't also had an opportunity to be introduced to it if it had not been for him. Thank you very much. And he was actually progressive before progressive became a progressive thing.
Absolutely. Chair recognizes Councilwoman again. Chair recognizes Councilwoman again.
Thank you so much, Council President. And, you know, originally I was going to wait until the introduction, but it feels very fitting after Sarah's beautiful and very loving testimony to her late husband to hear all of our colleagues say so much about what Rob meant to the entire city of Philadelphia. He was a Philadelphian through and through. As Sarah said, he loved the city. He had a bigger vision of it. He invested in its infrastructure and he invested in its people. And I do want to extend my enormous gratitude to you, Council President, for doing this tribute to a wonderful person, and his legacy lives on in Sarah and his daughters. So just very grateful for this moment and in remembrance and holding precious people who've come before us, who've done so much. Thank you very much, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I want to join the chorus of my colleagues and just saying what a great guy Rob was. And, you know, whenever I think of Rob Stewart, I always smile. And I smile because he was someone who brought something to the table, and it was about helping people, and it was positive. It was never any foolishness. It was never anything that wasn't going to make a difference in the lives of the people of Philadelphia, especially those who need it the most. So, you know, it's my honor to be in any way, shape, or form play a role in helping this happen. And, you know, to Sarah and family, I thank you for sharing Rob with us. We thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. There will be a ceremony at the park in about a month, so we'll make sure everybody gets an invitation. Thank you. That's it. Mr. Decker.
The next speaker is Drew Murray, commenting on 210360.
Good morning. State your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thanks, Council President. This is Drew Murray. I'm a board member of the Logan Square Neighborhood Association and former president. I'm here to support the resolution in naming the Winter Street Dog Park in memory of my friend Rob Stewart, bill resolution number 210360. Rob was a friend and a mentor to me. He was also a former president of the Logan Square Neighborhood Association. He did so much for our community. I think it might have even been you, Council President, who called him the 18th member of City Council, because everyone knew him, and everyone in the community knew him. Council President, I know you've heard me say this story, and I know Sarah's heard this story, but I used to call Rob, and I still call Rob, the George Bailey of our community. He really touched people in so many ways that seemed small at the moment, but had long-lasting effects on their lives. I know for me personally, he convinced me not to leave the city of Philadelphia. I was heading to the main line back to where my family was and where I grew up, and he was the one who convinced me not to leave. He was the one that also called to Story School to convince them to let my daughter in. He always denied that, but I know he did it. So he had such a profound effect on my life and so many people. And I think this will be such an honor for him to have this dog park named for him, because it was one of the last things he actually asked me to help him with. right before he passed. He said, "Drew, I want to get a dog park in this community. Can you help me?" And, I know it was one of Sarah's dreams and one of my dreams to see that this comes to fruition. So I want to thank you, Council President, number one, for helping provide the funds for this. And I want to thank you and my friend, Councilwoman Gim, for making this resolution to name this park in memory of Rob. It'll be an incredible honor to his legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Decker.
The next speaker is Sakri Abdullayev, commenting on 210460.
Good morning. State your name for the record, please, and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning to all. My name is Fakri Abdullayev. I'm calling in to support the resolution 210460, and I want to thank specifically Councilman O for introducing the resolution and for the rest of the council for hearing. I've been a resident of Philadelphia since I was 7. Moved to the Northeast Philly when I was 7 with my family. I've lived here pretty much all my life. I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 2019, and I consider Philadelphia to be my home, and I intend to call it my home for the rest of my life. Today's subject is important to me and close to me, much like it is to the growing number of Azerbaijanis that live here. We've always known the city of Philly as a city of brotherly love. We chose to live here because we believe that the community here is vibrant, caring, and defined by the many communities of different ethnic and national backgrounds. I remember walking through Benjamin Franklin Parkway throughout my entire childhood and young adult years and always being inspired and proud of the different nationalities living here. Philly really embraces its diverse composition of people and wants them to succeed, and seeing all of those flags here signified that to me. It's also disappointing to me to not see my own country represented in that parkway. As a community of Azerbaijanis in Philly, we want to be able to be represented as a part of the city of Philadelphia and have our voices heard. Though we are a small population currently in Philadelphia, we are constantly growing, and we do contribute a lot to the development of our city. Many of us work or own businesses directly within the city, and we're constantly hosting many cultural events with hundreds of Azeris and other nationalities attending, and working with other minority groups to make the city place a better place for all. We are proud Philadelphians and Azerbaijanis, and we are continuing to grow. We want to see ourselves representative, and that's why we hope to see our flag flying across Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and we hope to do this with your help, and we truly appreciate the effort in helping us put this forward. We want the city of Philadelphia and the world to know that we are proud of the Azerbaijanis living in the greatest city in the world. We think that this will go really a long way to show Philly as one of these vibrant, multicultural and diverse communities. I want to thank you all for your time and allowing me to share my perspective today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Leila Salehli, commenting on 210460.
Good morning. State your name.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Leila Salehli Horgan. I'm here today in support of Resolution 210460, calling on the City of Philadelphia to include the flag of the Republic of Azerbaijan in the display of international flags along Benjamin Franklin Parkway. And again, thank you to council members O, Bass, Brooks, Dome, Green, and Spira for including our ethnic minority group into Philadelphia's cultural, multi-ethnic environment here. Much like Fakhri sort of already introduced, our common sentiment is I also came to Philadelphia in 1995 as an international student at the time to Drexel University. Haven't left our city since. I married through and through Philadelphian, and the city became a home for me and my family now. But I do remember that time I walked down our beautiful Ben Franklin Parkway, saw those flags waving in the wind. I searched for a flag of my country. I didn't see it. But I thought, wow, perhaps they never heard of Azerbaijan. At the time, it was just a newly independent state breaking from Soviet Union. But I hope that soon we can bring Azerbaijani flag to the city. It did take years of understanding how our city works. to build up our community here. We've tried for many years, unfortunately not successfully, but I think today is different. The moratorium has been lifted. Philadelphia is such a multi-ethnic and multicultural city today, most importantly. 25 years later, we have a very strong and thriving Azerbaijani community in Philadelphia. Azerbaijani Americans in Philadelphia have cultural representation. You'll hear from our next speaker, Temriz Azeri, who represents Azerbaijani Society of America in our city. We hold events and work with many other minority groups to make our city a better place. I, for example, also represent a U.S. Azerbaijani network in our city, a grassroots advocacy organization whose mission is to educate our voters about American political system and give the tools to be an integral part of American democracy. Philadelphia is the birthplace of that democracy, and we as immigrants to this country, to this city, want to be represented along with many other nations around the world by sharing the culture of Azerbaijan, our birthplace, with our new home, Philadelphia. I ask you to please help us do that today. Please vote to include the flag of Azerbaijan in Philadelphia's beautiful display of international flags. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Appreciate it.
WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
210460.
Good morning.
Good morning, council members. My name is Sabir Abdullayev. I want to thank you for looking at resolution 210460 to raise the Azerbaijani flag on the parkway. My family came here in 1999. I have two brothers. They are younger than me, and my parents who are older. And we came here from Moscow, but we came from Azerbaijan, and I was born in Baku originally. I lived there until I was 8. When we came here from Moscow, right, Philadelphia became home for us, right? We went, we have house here now, 2 houses, the whole family. We all went to schools here. I went to Drexel. My brothers went to Temple. We all work in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania area. So we made our home here. And, you know, when I used to work, I used to live on Spring Garden next to the Art Museum, a couple blocks away. And I worked in Center City across of City Hall. I would walk by the parkway every day, and it would actually bother me each day when I would pass and I'd not see the Azerbaijani flag there. But I knew time will come, and, you know, that time is now, and we're here to ask you to approve raising a flag of this country that was an independent democracy, right? The first independent democracy in a secular Muslim world. It became in 1918, right? And in 1919, the women had right to vote and run for the office, right? And just to, as a comparison, that was a year before it was available here in the United States for nationally for women to vote. So imagine a nation of Benjamin Franklin in 1918, 1,000 miles from away from here. And that's who we represent, you know, that's what we want to establish here and work here towards the democracy and our common values. And I appreciate your listening to us about this issue. It's very important for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Temriz Azeri, commenting on 210460.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Yes, good morning. My name is Temriz Azeri. Good morning, Mr. Council President, and thank you very much for the opportunity to address you. Our profound gratitude to all the members of the Council who are serving our city with distinction. We are grateful to each and every one of you. I'm in support for Resolution 210460 to include the flag of Azerbaijan in the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. I am president of Azerbaijan Society of America, the oldest pan-Azerbaijani grassroots organization in the United States representing Azerbaijani Americans. Founded in 1957 by the first wave of immigrants to the United States, it is the first organization in the world to represent Azerbaijanis outside of their homeland. Our community has grown significantly over the years, especially here in Philadelphia. We work with a wide range of organizations and communities across the country to engage Azerbaijanis around the nation. We work closely with Turkish, Israeli, Pakistani, and many other communities in the nation. First Republic of Azerbaijan was established in 1918, secular Muslim democracy, very first in the world. Unfortunately, within 2 years, it fell under Soviet rule. When the Soviet Union finally collapsed in 1991, Azerbaijan was the first nation to regain their independence. While being under the Soviet rule over 70 years, Azerbaijani flag was banned in the Soviet Azerbaijan. But in America, we were raising the flag of Azerbaijan because America gave us the freedom to do so. We are proud Americans and always will be grateful. Azerbaijan is a staunch ally of the United States. Azerbaijan unconditionally supported America's anti-terrorist campaign immediately in the wake of the September 11th tragedy to ensure the safety of all Americans and U.S. installations in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijani soldiers fought next to American soldiers in Kosovo, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Azerbaijan opened its doors to American businesses, and today many Americans call Azerbaijan their home. Seeing the Azerbaijani flag among the other banners of iconic Benjamin Franklin Parkway will be a reminder to all of us the friendship America and Azerbaijan continue to share and enjoy. I thank you for listening to me, and I am grateful for your service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Sharice Lee, commenting on 210434.
Good morning.
Yes.
State your name for the
Good morning. Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sharice Lee, and calling on the city of Philadelphia to implement minimum force training for all law enforcement officers. Whereas minimum force training provides law enforcement officers with the physical skills and mental perspective to use no force or the least amount of force required when faced with a confrontation under stress. And whereas minimum force training is a valuable tool for law enforcement officers and civilians alike. And whereas police use of force and training protocols are particularly salient following high-profile incidents of overly aggressive officer-involved confrontations and unattended shootings, and whereas, as a result of George Floyd's death, there is a national push to reform laws and protocols pertaining to the police conduct and liability, and whereas some of these efforts are questionable and may result in unintended consequences that increase crime and injury, and whereas minimum force training can reduce the tragedies by balancing lethal force responses with more appropriate responses based upon the circumstance. And whereas law enforcement officials in neighboring Bucks and Delaware counties have already begun exploring implementation of minimum force training as a component of its mandatory police officer training, and whereas in the best interest of its officers and the public, the Philadelphia Police Department should implement minimum force training to complement traditional lethal force training, and whereas in order to implement minimum force training, the city will need to establish training programs for the police department, establish parameters for how officers will be expected to complete the training, and define administrative regulations for receiving compensatory time or other reimbursements for completing the training. Now, therefore, be it. Resolved by the Council of the City of Philadelphia that it hereby calls on the City of Philadelphia to implement minimum force training for all law enforcement officers. This has been introduced by Councilmember O as of May 6, 2021. I should recently wholeheartedly support this resolution number 210434 because in order to maintain any professional field, you must adhere to the mandatory required recertification procedures. Just as the fast food employee must recertify their safe serve license every few years, as well as the attorney must recertify his license 6 months prior to the expiration date. This resolution, which has been put in place, not only protects us, but our children by teaching them how to be responsible adults because they are our future leaders. Thank you so much for your time, and everyone have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next speaker is April McBride, commenting on 210434.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just state your name for the record.
April McBride. Good morning, Council Member President and Council members. I'm in favor of Resolution 210434, implementing minimal force training for all law enforcement agencies. This resolution that has been presented today by Councilmember O is extremely needed in the city of Philadelphia, especially in the impoverished urban neighborhoods where police brutality and police fatality there are much higher occurrences. Example given, the fatal shooting of Walter Wallace Jr. in 2020 in West Philadelphia. Mr. Wallace was having a mental health crisis, as his mother stated, and cried out to the police officers involved. But Mr. Wallace's life was lost because of a lethal gunshot from the police officers that were there on the scene. Minority men, women, boys, and girls are already looked upon as immediate threats, which is unfair and unjust. With that being said, to minimize police brutality and fatality, this resolution is very crucial to lives of all citizens of Philadelphia of all races, especially for the minority communities. Once a person is deceased, they cannot come back to life, and to die by lethal force by police, where the situation could have been resolved by minimal force, is not acceptable, and the damage cannot be undone. I ask you today to support and pass into the bill of law here in Philadelphia, resolution number 210434. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it.
The next speaker is Johnson Jajut, commenting on 210434.
Good morning. State your name for the record and proceed with the testimony.
Morning, Council President and morning, Council members. I am Johnson Jajut. I'm a current resident of Philadelphia. I'm also a mixed martial arts instructor. I've been instructing law enforcement and other parts of private sector for so many years now. And I can go into the ups and downs throughout the years of the acts of law enforcement, but I want to present it to you guys as what they really are. They're people, they're everyday people that have anxiety just like us, get angry just like us, get happy just like us, and also go through trials and tribulations just like us. They're everyday people, and on top of that, they decide one day to serve and protect our community. They're everyday people that are expected to rise above and make critical, hard decisions in hostile situations without the proper training. It is important, and I fully support Resolution 210434 that was presented by David O., council member, that it's very important. It's very important that these people that choose to serve and protect our community are presented with an opportunity to have a choice to be able to implement minimum force training. I agree that it should be mandatory, where these people are trained to deal with hostile situations on a day-to-day basis. And there's no other way to do it other than being in a controlled environment where you're trained mentally and physically on how to deal with hostile situations. How are people expected to do that if they're not constantly trained for it? Do you expect doctors to do great surgeries without constantly practicing? No. How can it be expected of a person who chooses to serve or protect our community to rise above situations in a very hostile environment without the proper training? It would only help them become safer. It would help them. It would help them basically protect our community in a better way, help people more comfortable around them. It just would help in every way possible. Every way possible. Help improve their lives, making sure they're going home, making the right decisions, and help the community around them. It is very important, very, very important that they are committed to bettering themselves, not just physically, but mentally. You know, it goes that far. It goes that far into their training. And also here, there's opposition to it too, as well, as there is already some minimum force training. And if that's the case, would we be where we are today if there was? You know, and if there is some type of training, is it good enough? Would we be having this conversation today? And that's something we need to ask ourselves. Like, what is missing and what do we need to implement? And this is one of them. I fully support it. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you.
And I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it.
There are no other speakers in the public comment list, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Now that concludes our public comment session. We will now consider the bills and resolutions on the second reading and final passage calendar today. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 210375.
A resolution calling on the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration to take action to prevent the transportation of liquefied natural gas through the city of Philadelphia, and further calling on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and/or the Army Corps of Engineers to perform an environmental impact statement of the proposed docking facility in Gibbstown, New Jersey.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that resolution number 210375 be withdrawn.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the resolution number 210375 be withdrawn. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Resolution number 210375 has been withdrawn. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 210452.
A resolution also naming the 1600 block of South Street, Ronald K. Washington Way, to honor Ron Washington, founding owner of the legendary Ron's Ribs, for his legacy of dedicated service to the South Philadelphia community.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson for a motion.
Thank you, Council President. Council President, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 210453.
A resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to certain city-owned lots or pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon, situated in the 2nd Councilmanic District of the City of Philadelphia, and further authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to transfer to the Philadelphia Land Bank fee simple title to such properties.
Chair again recognizes Councilman Johnson for a motion.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor of the resolution indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 210454.
A resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to certain city-owned lots or pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon, situated in the 3rd Councilmanic District of the city, and further authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to transfer to the Philadelphia Land Bank fee simple title to such properties.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Gauthier for a motion.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor of the adoption of the resolution indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 210455.
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 5559 Locust Street, located in the 3rd Councilmanic District.
Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Gauthier.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, read the title of resolution number 210456.
A resolution honoring and congratulating Destiny Jackson on her acceptance into 50-plus colleges while experiencing homelessness, foster care, and participating in several extracurricular leadership positions.
Chair recognizes Councilman Thomas for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank Destiny for joining us today, and I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number. Somebody answer the phone. 210458.
A resolution honoring and congratulating Frank Stephan Spira on the occasion of his retirement from the Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement.
Chair recognizes Councilman Squilla for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 210460.
A resolution calling on the City of Philadelphia to include the flag of the Republic of Azerbaijan in the display of international flags along the Benjamin Franklin Parkway.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman O for a motion.
Thank you very much, Council President. I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of bill number 210360.
An ordinance officially naming and designating the dog park located on the north side of Winter Street between 21st Street and 22nd Street in the City of Philadelphia as the Rob Stewart Memorial Dog Park.
Thank you. This bill having been read on 2 different days, the question now, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Councilman Dom.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gauthier.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gim.
Aye.
Councilman Heenan.
Aye.
Councilman Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman Jones.
Aye.
Councilman O.
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Parker.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilman Squilla.
Aye.
Councilman Thomas.
Aye.
Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 17, the nays are 0. Majority of members present voting in affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, do you have some additional resolution?
I do not, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. That completes our calendar for today. And prior to recognizing members regarding speeches, I will note for the record at the time that we will use the chat feature available in Microsoft's Teams to allow members to signify that they wish to be recognized. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for this particular purpose. With that said, are there speeches on behalf of the minority? And there have been none. Speeches on behalf of the majority. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I rise to salute an ordinance that was placed by Councilman Johnson. It is a moratorium on demolition in his district. I rise and I smiled a little bit when it was introduced because it reminded me about a book that I recommend all members of council read. It is called The Geography of Nowhere. And what the book basically is about is in construction, in modern haste to develop and sometimes overdevelop, neighborhoods are disappearing in the sense of their uniqueness, their history, their conformation to region, architecture, and so on. And the book goes on to say, Mr. President, that in some parts of the United States now, if they blindfolded you, dropped you into a main street or a town, spun you around 3 times, you would not be able to identify where you were. There are historic sites in Philadelphia, such as City Hall, such as the Liberty Bell and the Art Museum, and neighborhoods that have unique character, such as South Philly, such as Germantown, such as places like Ridge Avenue in my district, that have historical and architectural relevance. We did a tour on Ridge Avenue once, and I was with my staff, and I pointed out a keystone that had 1714 on it. I said, well, that couldn't be the address. We are much further north. And what my staff, Josh Cohen, was kind enough to point out to me, that was the year that that building was built. I say that to say that people like John Street and members of the Overbrook Farms community, members of Roxborough and the Historic Society have pointed out that if we keep demolishing neighborhoods and erasing that, all of the neighborhoods will look the same. Front pull-up driveways to park, but you won't be able to get those rich brownstones in your district on Diamond Street and places that we have to protect. I've been around long enough, as Maria Sanchez points out, that I'm 2 minutes senior to her in seniority because my name starts with a J and hers with an S, and I get it. But I do know when we first came in, everybody wanted by right zoning. I can safely say that most of the communities we represent now regret that because anybody can just come up and put anything in a lot of our neighborhoods. And you and I share this, Mr. President, those multicolored corner stores that sell all kinds of paraphernalia that often have illegal gambling machines in them because they can put them up by right. So I salute you, colleague Johnson, for recognizing the historic nature of part of your district and share with you that a couple of generations back that I'm a South Philly guy from the P. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Very poignant point. It is an issue, and hopefully with the designation of the new zoning code advisory commission, committee, special committee, we can address that by virtue of recommended legislation and possibly charter changes in the very near future, because it has changed the character of neighborhoods across the city, not necessarily in a positive way. Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilmember Jones, thank you so very much for raising awareness about that important issue. You know how I feel about land use and zoning and protecting the quality and character of a neighborhood and not allowing anyone who doesn't live in a particular neighborhood to shame or guilt the people who've been there for so many generations for trying to hold on to that which they know is home. So So thank you for raising awareness about that. Mr. President, on this morning, I did not expect to comment about this, but something happened that I witnessed firsthand this morning that I wanted to note for the record. I proudly went to receive my second shot this morning at the Finley Recreation Center playground at Upsall and Mansfield. My appointment was for 9:30, but I got there a little early. The process, the structure it was so well organized, I didn't have to wait. The Ed Snyder Hockey Foundation, along with Sunray Pharmacy, they are partnering with my office, Finley, and several others, and that's one of our neighborhood-based vaccination sites. And when I was there, my neighbor had asked me earlier this week, are walk-ins allowed? And I told her, yes, Mr. President. She said, I'm vaccinated and I'm going to bring my daughter. Now she has 2. But so I'm sitting in the back. After you get the shot, you know, you have to sit in the area for 15 minutes and wait. And when she came in, she only had one daughter. And it wasn't her elder daughter. It was her younger daughter, who I believe is about 14. And I waved my hand. I said, where's my girl? Talking about her other daughter. Her elder daughter decided that she did not want to be vaccinated. I wanted to use this opportunity, Mr. President, to strongly encourage Philadelphians to continue on that about when Philadelphia will be open. You know, you've listened to Dr. Fauci and talking about, you know, the mask and, you know, what will happen in terms of processes and protocols. But now is not the time, PHL, to let up on that. So, you know, Mr. President, I know I, along with all of us here in council, are going to continue encouraging our constituents to get vaccinated. And, Mr. President, and all of our colleagues, I always feel good when I'm at our neighborhood-based sites because, Mr. President, the people, when I walked in, the people were saying, thanks so much that we don't have to go downtown. They were happy to have a spot in the neighborhood. So I want to say thank you for that. I also wanted to say thank you to Council Member Isaiah Thomas for honoring Destiny and, you know, her game-changing, trend-setting, and trailblazing acceptance to over 52 colleges. Now, Destiny chose Spelman, and I'm excited for her. But when she said Spelman, I immediately got on and began texting Philadelphia's Spelman graduates, one of them who's really active, and that's Lori Jones. Who is the president and CEO of Philabundance. And I said, well, Lori, what other Philadelphia Spelman grads are here? And she talked about Nikki Hawkins from 6ABC, Dr. Sean Blue, who is a psychologist and a leader in the Links, and a young woman who is a member of Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church, Nicole Phillips, who just ran for judge in Montco and was successful. So Destiny is going to be in good company. We wish you well. And Mr. President, I'm glad Destiny said that she is setting her eyes on the big stage, you know, for president, right? And not council right now, because let me tell you something, she's going to be ready and prepared when she graduates from Spelman. So Destiny, we wish you the best. And because we have Kamala Harris, who is there and who made history in her election, Destiny, you now know you can be what you can see. You know it's possible because you see what Kamala Harris has been able to achieve. And so I'm just really moved by her story, her humble beginnings, and her willingness to overcome with the greatest resilience we can see in a person to achieve what many people may not have thought was her destiny because of her circumstances, but she arrived. So congratulations, Destiny, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. It's a great achievement. Chair recognizes Councilman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I was not going to speak this morning, just like Councilmember Parker, but when she mentioned Spelman College, I'd be remiss in not acknowledging that my sister, Dr. Valerie Green Amos, is also a prior graduate of Spelman College. It's a phenomenal institution in Georgia, and there's a number of great, phenomenal Spelman women that our Majority Leader acknowledged, and they also do provide scholarships and other fundraising. So we definitely look forward to Destiny, and I thank Councilmember Thomas for his acknowledgement of that information. Also, I know Councilmember Jones has participated in the past event, but my understanding is that this Saturday is the Philly Vax John 2, which goes to the great comments that Councilmember and our Majority Leader Harker stated about getting vaccinated. That will be in Councilmember Jones's district, the Dell Music Center, this Saturday, May 22nd, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, I'm not sure if Councilmember Jones will be getting on the Wheels of Steel with our DJ Gario and DJ Active, but I know he's got a lot of great skills in that regard. So once again, following the great comments that our Majority Leader stated, we need to get everyone to get vaccinated, and that the Philly Vax John 2 will be at the Dell Music Center this Saturday, May 22nd, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And of course, they're working with the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium and Dr. Ayla Stanford. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman, for bringing that to the attention. Thank you for that, and thank you, Councilwoman Parker. COVID-19 is not over. We got a briefing yesterday. I think we're probably at 50% yesterday. We were 49% of eligible individuals in the city vaccinated. That means that half the people in the city that are eligible are not vaccinated. So we still must be vigilant. We still have to make sure that we follow the updated guidelines, but we're asking people wherever possible, please get vaccinated so we can get back to normal as quickly as possible. Chair recognizes Councilman Don.
Oh, thank you, Council President. And I just want to speak today about something I feel very strongly about, and that is I believe we're at a turning point for the city of Philadelphia. This is a moment in time where we can make a dramatic difference for all Philadelphians, but especially those in poverty and in need of a good paying job. We can return to what we were doing before. I think we will get there, but that's not my goal. My goal is to do way better than we were doing before. We know we're one of the poorest cities in the country, and we know that since 2009, sadly, we produced twice the U.S. average of jobs that pay below $35,000 a year. And we also know that we had the second biggest financial loss of any city. Only Detroit was worse than us. And we also know that of the top cities in the East Coast, on the formation of black and brown businesses, we're the lowest by far. We're also the lowest for white businesses. We also know that for existing businesses to grow jobs here, our ability to grow jobs is hindered by the fact that our business taxes are almost double every other city except one, New York. This hurts us in growing jobs. This is why, when you look at the suburbs of Philadelphia, their employment far exceeds the city of Philadelphia. While all other cities on the East Coast, the majority of the city's employment exceeds the suburbs. So my comments today are really, if we're serious about tackling poverty and creating good paying jobs, this is our time. With the money coming to us from the federal government, we need to produce these family sustaining jobs and make sure that money is utilized. So this is the time for us, in my opinion, to be as bold as we possibly can. It's not acceptable to me to return to what we were before, but to be better. We still have this chance, so I just hope we can take advantage of it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson.
Hey, thank you, Council President. I just wanted to thank my colleague, Councilman Curtis Jones, for acknowledging some of the work that we're doing regarding reimagining development that's taking place throughout the 2nd Councilmatic District. And as a result, we're looking at the blocks of Christian Street in South Philadelphia. It's known now as the Graduate Hospital area, but we have learned over the last several months that there were several historical houses built by an African-American architect called Julian Abel. He's a graduate from the University of Pennsylvania, and a lot of his houses that he had built along Christian Street, which are known as African American Doctors Row. Some of them have been slated for redevelopment, and so as a result, we began looking at the preservation of historical landmarks along Christian Street in South Philadelphia, with a significant amount of prominent African Americans who have lived in that particular area throughout the ages, as well as First African Baptist Church also is along that corridor as well. And so we will be also approaching the Preservation Alliance for official designation regarding African American Row along this particular street/corridor. So thank you, Councilman Jones, for just acknowledging the work that we're doing. Also, thank you for setting the tone, because I've paid attention to the work that you have done regarding the preservation of landmarks in your particular district. And just wanted to say thank you for the acknowledgement of our work that we're doing. Thank you very much, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Any additional speeches on behalf of the majority and minority? There being none, the chair now recognizes Councilman Jones for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that City Council stand adjourned until Thursday, May 27, 2021 at 10 a.m.
Second.
Thank you. It has been voted and seconded that the council stand adjourned until Thursday, May 27, 2021 at 10 a.m. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you all very much, and please be safe.
Okay, you just listened in to the Philadelphia City Council. They were live. They were meeting as a whole council, a whole committee, ending a bit early. So let's go to a break. When we come back from the break, we'll have phone lines open at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Here on Reality Check. Well, now we're transitioning into Reality Check out of City Council Live, but we'd love to get your feedback and your responses or reactions to what you just heard in Philadelphia City Council. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. We'll be right back.
The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society supports WURD and presents the 2021 Philadelphia Flower Show, Habitat Nature's Masterpiece, June 5th to 13th. Now blooming outdoors for the first time ever at FDR Park in South Philadelphia. Tickets and details available at phsonline.org.
Tune in Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. to hear Empire Capital and Consulting founder Mark Palmer's show titled Black Money, Black Power. This show centers around black money and how black power is derived from money. Tune in every Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Black Money, Black Power, hosted by Mark Palmer.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
I'm your Tech Life expert, Stephanie Humphrey, and this is your WURD Digital Tip. If you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, an important part of your business may be sending emails to potential prospects, but it can feel almost impossible to find anyone's email address just by searching through the company website. When you need an email address at another company, try using hunter.io. Find email addresses from any company name or website, get the email address of an individual, or verify an email address to make sure your message doesn't get bounced back. There is a free version of the software, and plans start as low as $49 per month. So now you can make sure all those cold emails and all your hard work pay off for your business. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
The WURD Digital Tip of the Month was brought to you by Comcast. The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for June is Taught by Women, Poems as Resistance Language by Hakeem Adabudi. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, June 8th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
Okay, welcome back. Phone lines are open at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Phone lines are open as we were just listening in to the Philadelphia City Council. Philadelphia City Council holding its live session, meeting as a council of the whole. So definitely, I'm sure you have some reactions or some comments on that. This was a fairly non-busy, it wasn't the busiest city council session that we've listened into. Also, next week, Monday and Wednesday of next week, we have the budget, the budget phase, or the budget oversight phase of the city's fiscal year 2022 budget, sort of wrapping up. We've got callbacks and public testimony, you know, city council calling back various agency heads or agency representatives throughout the city. They will be calling them back. That's happening on Monday, May 24th. We've got that happening at 9:30 in the morning on Monday, May 24th. And there is a public testimony period that is being scheduled for Wednesday, May 26th. From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So more department callbacks, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. before City Council as they continue to go through, examine, explore the city's the mayor's proposed fiscal year 2022 budget. Also, there could be there's some non-testifying departments, might be, folks like the Commission on Human Relations, Office of Sustainability, Records, Water, Sewer, Stormwater, Rate Board, Art Museum, Board of Ethics. There's some non-testifying departments you should check out as well at phlcouncil.com/budget 2022. It's that easy. Just go to the Philadelphia City Council's Budget Center at phlcouncil.com/budget 2022. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Phone lines are open. While we've got pretty much a bit over an hour to get your thoughts, get your perspectives on everything that's happened this past week, and just to gauge what's on your mind. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Things that are happening inside Philadelphia, also around and outside of Philadelphia as well. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Here on Reality Check, there's a couple of listeners who were listening in to Destiny Jackson. She was obviously participating in the public comment period, and so folks just congratulating her and also asking to donate to her GoFundMe account. So I know a lot of people are very excited about that, excited about her recent achievements. So there's a few comments on that. Thanks for those comments. You can watch us on Facebook.com/forward and also YouTube.com/onWURD as well. Facebook.com/forward and YouTube.com/onWURD. Let's go to Maurice out of Southwest, who's calling in for a reality check. Maurice, what's up?
How you doing, Charles?
How you doing?
I was listening to the whole city council. I'm sorry, did I miss something big that they talked about? I didn't pick anything up. I mean,
No.
I've been looking at on YouTube council meetings in Reading, Douglasville, Perkiomen, and other areas right outside the city. And, when they got a little bit of extra time, they actually addressed the audience and say, does anybody have any issues they will bring up front right now that we done took care of our business?
Mm.
And it seems like if things end short for them, they can't wait to get out the door. And I also noticed that a lot of phones were going off in the background.
Mm.
And I don't know if that was from the audience, which I don't think it was. I wonder, was that city council people's phones going off?
Sounded like it, right?
And that's what I'm saying, because when you have the open people be giving their open statements, I don't think anybody's listening. I'm looking at it on TV, and it looks like everybody's in the days like maybe they're cutting out coupons or something when people are reading off their statements. I mean, other city council people, I can go up, if I went downtown right now and it was councilman, I could say, Mr. Curtis Jones, with this looming police problem, since you brought in these, you are in control of these cameras, how's it going? You know, I'm not going to say nothing negative against it. Just how's it going? Is it helping the police out, or how's the COVID situation? Is it better handled? And you know, I'm glad they mentioned about the young girl, but what school? Do you know what school she went to?
Who said?
Graduated from? I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh, the graduate, the young sister who's going to who's getting acceptance and scholarship.
What school?
I think she's going to go. She's thinking of attending, or she's agreed to attend.
No, not where she's attending. Where did she graduate from?
Oh, where she graduated? You know, I forgot. It escaped me just now.
Well, I didn't really hear it mentioned.
Go ahead.
That's why I'm asking you. I just hope it wasn't Central or Masterman, because you know it seems like when Mr. Height or his people want to brag about the school system, it's like that. And there's one more other high school they go to, but I never hear anybody say, this guy came from Bartram, this guy came from Overbrook, this guy came from somewhere. Because you know we have one of the worst school systems in the country.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I didn't want to be negative today, but I would really want to address.
No, she's Belmont High School.
I never heard of that high school. Is it in the city?
I never heard of that high school either. So.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying, the disconnect. I would like to be able to.
I'm not sure. Where's Belmont High School? No, I think it's a charter school. It's a charter high school. Belmont
okay,
charter.
I can understand that now. But what I was saying is, I would just like to address them and ask them. You know, we're going through these racism problems and the problems with this city and thing. How come none of you followed Larry Krasner? Why didn't you support Larry Krasner? And just little things like that. I'm not getting an attitude with him. I just like to know.
So, I mean, to your point, I mean, it's a point that, not specifically on some of the topics that you raised, Maurice, but I did catch, the comments, very brief comments from Council Member Alan Dom. And he made a good point where he was saying that, this is the time, especially with Philly receiving so much federal relief money, so much pandemic relief money, for it to act bold. This is the bold moment. This is the step up moment. I was reading the Washington Post this morning and was reading a column, it was a rather short column from one of their, I think he's like the only or one of the very few black political analysts. He's a well-known black political analyst. For a number, he's worked for Politico. He's now at the Washington Post. Perry Bacon Jr. And every now and then you see him on channels like MSNBC or CNN or whatever. But he was ringing the warning bells about what's that. When you hear that, it's been my experience watching Perry over the years. Perry gives very sharp analysis. He's very professional. He's not what you would call on any level. I've never seen him become like an alarmist, but he was very much an alarmist, and he was ringing the alarm bells in this column. It's entitled, go to WashingtonPost.com, American Democracy is in even worse shape than you think. This is from Perry Bacon Jr. And I've never seen him write something like this, but folks are, I use Perry as a reference point because folks are walking around and they're doing business like, just like the city council president was like, hey, everyone get vaccinated so we can go back to things being normal. No, we can't go back to things being normal. Like the times are urgent. First of all, normal wasn't working before pandemic. So now we go back to normal, and then, you're expecting some semblance of normalcy. It's not going to happen. Not in the day and age and the urgent times that we live in right now. Like, people are really feeling like they can go back to, or they can conduct business as usual without being bold, without being agitating, without being noisy, without being vocal about these issues like the issues you laid out. That's what people are looking for. And it's not just about placating people like you or me, or making us feel like, or giving us rousing speeches. That's not what it's about. It's that people are in a lot of hurt. And the least thing that they expect from their elected officials is some acknowledgement of that hurt in a very vocal and bold way. Maurice, I'll let you go so I can take some other folks that have been holding, but I appreciate you as always. Let me go to, hold on. Let's take a break. Norm out of Florida, hold on. And we'll also take other phone calls, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
WURD Radio has partnered with First Person Arts and EMOC Philly, the Engaging Males of Color initiative of the Philadelphia Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, to take away the stigma around mental and emotional wellness. If you or someone you love are in crisis, call 215-686-4420 and get the help you need. That's 215-686-4420.
Does your pre-K to 12 student need reliable internet for digital learning? The city's PHL Connected program can help by offering free internet to eligible families. To find out if you qualify, dial 211. For language services, press 8. Learn more at phila.gov/PHL Connected.
Tune in this Saturday at 3 p.m. for the Friends of Farrakhan show, understanding the ultimate truth of the knowledge of self and the knowledge of God.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
All right, let's go back to phone lines, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. I mean, it really is like, I appreciate a little bit of what Councilmember Don was saying. Like, it really is like that moment is now. And, when you consider everything that's the chaos that's swirling about us, we still have many unresolved issues and many unresolved political and structural issues that, from, remaining not just from 2020, but from the past several years and just things we've been dealing with for centuries and generations. We're really going to need to, black elected officials, especially black political, black organizing, black civic class, is going to have to reactivate the kind of spirit and energy that our grandparents used to tell us about. And that's not happening right now. I don't, it's frustrating. Some people get on me and they're like, oh, you're being such a curmudgeon and you're being sour about low voter turnout. Krasner won, black voters were crucial in helping them win. Yeah, but it's just 17.6% turnout, which means that the vast majority of people in the city, in a very distressed and battered city like Philadelphia, is acting as if the city's not in hurt, as if the city's not in pain, and everyone's going through it. And so, that's that. The times are such, the times are so dangerous. The reversal of gains made over just in recent history, just in the past 50, 60 years, and the reversal of those gains, of that progress, is happening at a rapid clip. I mean, accelerating. And, I'm sorry, we're going to have to somehow summon up spirits of the past and get bold and creative and anxious and really rock things in a way that they did, and probably double that amount of energy than how they did back during the Civil Rights Movement. It's really a really precarious situation out there. I don't think people understand that. I think we're kind of living in comfortable, selfie-induced, social media realities, and we're thinking things are good, and it's just not. And it's not just the pandemic. Let me go to Norm out of Florida, who's been waiting patiently for a reality check. Norm?
Yes, Mr. Ellison, thank you so much. You are so right about the black leaders, need to step up their game. One of the things that I've been following, particularly in the Philadelphia area, and this in terms of law enforcement, Mr. Krasner's race and how important it is. Because I think that one of the most important thing in terms of structural and systemic racism that we must address is the war on drugs. And the war on drugs has been centered. Its foundation is structural racism. When you hear statements from, the Nixon era, John Ehrlichman saying we could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, vilify them night after night. And then he says that we could criminalize their leadership and heavily. And do we know it was a lie? And he said, sure we did. And then when I go back and I look at 1990 when Congressman John Conyers and Ron Daniels did a seminar for the Congressional Black Caucus, and this is on the internet. It's on the you check the Congressional Black Caucus or oversight, and they talked about in 1990 the thing black people being vilified by this war on drugs, and his attempt to do something about it. He spoke so eloquently about how this whole issue had become racialized. And now we learn that this issue has just been used to disrupt our entire economic structure. And so long comes a guy like Mr. Krasner, at least he recognizes what's happening is and realizes how there have been institutions like our police departments that have been a part of this misuse and those sort of things. And so we may have a chance here, but you're so right that our politicians have to go back and go and become active, not be afraid to speak out, not just be satisfied with their positioning and stuff. And my status is behind so-and-so, such and such,
Or, if speaking out's not your thing, real quick, Norm, I'll let you finish. If speaking out's not your thing, okay, well, figuring out how we can, leverage, effective mechanisms and tools that are at their disposal. Like, how do you, and that can be used towards, towards collective benefit. Yeah, I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing. I see a lot of people get outraged when things happen, but we get outraged and we act, according to whatever the episode is for that day. You flip on the channel or you go on the social media thread. Oh my gosh, look at what happened, and then then they get spurred into action, and then it lasts for a couple of days, and then it dies out. Then the next episode happens, we get wound up and riled up, everybody's tripping out, and then it 2-3 days, maybe 2-3 weeks, get some conversation around, get some outrage. Oh, let's do a virtual panel. Oh, let's get everybody get wound up, and then that dies down. Then another episode happens, and I mean, it's just it's insane. It's insane. There's no kind of real smart kind of strategy, like collective strategy that's being put out, that's being put together or deployed. I mean, everything's based on we're just going from episode to episode, from scene to scene.
Well, here's what
it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Here's what we did, Mr. Ellison. We a group of us got together, and we were pharmacists, dentists, and scholars, and began to identify these issues. And we put it in a blog, and I just recently published an article exposing corruption within the United States Drug Enforcement Administration and how Congressman John Conyers fought to reform criminal justice system. And this is a speech, not a speech, but a panel that he had, and this is how the drug war worked in 1990. And if you go back and look, they provide a structural foundation on how to approach this subject matter. So when our group got together and we tried to get the Congress people to do something to move on this subject matter, and that's what we do. You have to be advocates. And so, I mean, I just want to say that you go. I sent you a copy of the comments section from a blog that we write called YourWithinTheNorms.com.
Okay, good. Thank you for that.
But look at that, and if you look at that video, you're just going to be shocked. You're going to say, my God, what has changed here? Why haven't we moved on these things? And this is 30 years ago. And so it's almost as if we are repeating ourselves. And the other thing, too, Mr. Ellis, I was on that panel. And so, and again, it's a government house oversight committee, and the very same issues. In fact, one of the ladies was from Mrs. Birdland, was from Philadelphia. You know, Ron Daniels, he's from that Philadelphia area. I mean, he narrated the panel discussion, and yet 30 years, it's almost as if, you know, you close your eyes and you didn't have to go back. He's taking us further into the future. And so you're right. Our folks have got to act, and I think we've sent the wrong set of leaders sometimes. We got people who want to, or who I say they're good people, but the wrong set of leaders. And we need people to become advocates for us, or we'll find ourselves 30 more years from now looking at the same situation. And again, I invite you to look at what was said in this, and how the war on drugs is working in 1990. And this is a Congressional Black Caucus, all right? And jails, prisons, drugs. It's called Jails, Prisons, and Drugs. And until we address this drug issue, until we address the systemic structural racism in this in this so-called drug war issue, we've got issue. And I don't mean to take there's one other thing. HBO does a documentary called The Crime of the Century. In fact, it is a slime of the century, because it talks about opioid use. Starts 500,000 people died as of 2000, when in fact they don't even count the heroin deaths that were when this heroin was imposed upon our community. They don't count that as that started in 1970. Just take a look at that movie, and you'll see the distortions that have been taken. And I hope that Mr. Krasner and people like you can begin to deal with this issue effectively, and how it and we can move forward, and we can move forward for.
You say you're a pharmacist, or you were a pharmacist? Okay.
I graduated from Florida A&M and University.
1890
Detroit.
1890 University.
Yeah, I graduated from Florida A&M University, and I grew up in Detroit. I went to dental school at the University of Michigan.
Okay.
And I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi.
Okay. All right. Okay. We had the Philadelphia chapter poll mark on yesterday for Kappas. Okay. Got it. All right. Well, listen, Norm, I appreciate you calling from Florida. I do. Yeah. Thanks for listening in as well. Like, spread the word. We appreciate you. Thanks so much, too, for those comments. Really appreciate that. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. 215-634-8065, and it's 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Also, are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Earth Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That is WURDworks.com, and click on jobs. Once again, go to wordworks.com. Let's go to Miss Sandra out of Oak Lane calling in for a reality check. Miss Sandra?
Hi, Charles. Listen, I want to encourage you and let you know that you're not Isaiah out in the wilderness and nobody's paying any attention. There are listeners and there are folks out here are listening and trying to do something. So just to encourage you and let you know what I'm going to let you know what I did the day after the election on the 19th. I went on our neighborhood chat.
Right.
I put up all the information for people to register to vote. This morning, I put up information about the SB 300 amendment proposal and the House Bill 192 to amend the election code so that independents could vote in the primary, not just, doing the ballot questions, because it's unfair for, people to be forced to pick Democrat or Republican to vote in the primary. So people are out here doing things, and I decided to start a little earlier.
That's right.
Instead of waiting to, October, into, when it's so close to the election.
How do you think things are going right now, Ms. Sandra, as far as preparation for 2022? Because you got the state legislature that will be in contest. The Governor Tom Wolf's going to be running for re-election, so he may have a big battle on his hands, and then you got that open U.S. Senate seat that Republican Senator Toomey is vacating. So what's your feel on that? How 2022 is going to go next year?
Well, my feeling is like a lot of people are anesthetized. It's like people are walking around like they don't know what's happening, what to do. Yeah. I kind of feel we don't even recognize our own innate power, that we rely too much on the government and others to do for us. We can do what we need to get done. We should not be waiting around for things to happen. I think it's going to drag on until August. You may see a little stirring, then maybe September, then October, everybody be trying to rush, with petitions and, because people have to get their petitions out. But, you can blame everything on COVID if you want to, but this stuff was happening before COVID. And people need to start reading more, getting more involved, and stop coming to the polls not knowing. There were so many people that came to the polls, didn't know who was running, what the questions were about. They were just like in la-la land. Now, I don't mind helping people, but come on. When you're 50, 60 years old, and you've been living in Philadelphia all your life, I don't understand why you don't know what's going on.
Let me ask you that real quick, Ms. Sandra, before I let you go. How much responsibility is on the city's elected class, on city leadership, to help people get it, to educate people about how this all works, to how to get mobilized, how to get activated, how to plug in, how to go vote? Because sometimes I'll get that a lot, where and I do have to at times be a bit careful with even my own language. Like, I don't want to be so harsh on folks in the community, because there are a lot of people who just don't know. And then we have systems. It's deliberate. It's been set up that way, where we have systems and we have the type of community, particularly in a city like Philadelphia, where things are meant to be hidden from people. People are meant to not learn about how these systems work and how these processes work. But how much responsibility, how much burden is on them?
I would say 50% burden on 50% burden would be on the commissioners, and then the other 50% would be divided up however you want, would be on ward leaders, committee people, and the residents. So I would say, however you want to slice the pie with the 50%. But one of the problems that I see is that the ward leaders are not, most of the ward leaders, some of them are, but most of them are not activating the committee people to get out.
Yeah.
And I think that we got to do better. We got to start hitting the pavement again like we used to do years ago, and start knocking on doors and introducing ourselves and telling people what's going on. Like, the candidates should be getting out, knocking on doors, introducing themselves, and asking the voters for their vote.
Yeah. And that's got to be a constant, ongoing thing.
Yeah, that's what I think. We got to get back and hit the ground and start, knocking on doors and getting out, like, now that we have all of these affairs, that it's summertime. People need to get out and let people know who they are. Even the people that got elected for judges, they should, try to, do some type of seminars like in the school with the children, preventive things.
Right.
So yeah, I think more can be done. If we're going to say we are trying to be progressive, which we're not, this city, generally speaking, is not progressive.
Right.
There are certain individuals who call themselves progressive who may or may not be progressive, but by and large, this is not a progressive city. And, I mean, you can see that through the school system, the slow voter turnout, the gatekeepers, so forth, so on, the illiteracy rate. There's no way we could call ourselves. We may be a first-class city when it comes to collecting funds and because of our population, but we're not first class here. We need to really step up our game. So I hear you. I agree with you, but please stay encouraged and keep doing what you do, because you don't know really how many people you are reaching. They may never communicate with you, but you are reaching people.
I appreciate that.
Don't give up.
No, not at all. No, definitely won't do that. I appreciate you, Miss Sandra. And please be safe out there too. And I know you won't give up either. Let me go to, I'm going to have to let you go. Thanks for those kind words, but thanks also for words we all need to hear. Let me go to George out of Center City calling in for a reality check. George?
Charles, how you doing, Charles?
What's happening? All right.
Good. Charles, one thing I must say is that you really hold back on a lot, because, these elected officials' job is to dummy down. The less you know, the better off they are. It's not their job to teach you, because then, they have to work. They have to earn their money. But it's just the way it is, And you know better than anybody, Charles, why do you keep talking to the workers when you can talk directly to their boss? Each one of those elected officials, they only do what they're told. You see how they did Krasner, did you? Did any of them open their mouth? No. And then the next day, they all praising like they did something, lying. Oh, we did this. We did that. Everybody want to say, well, we were working behind the scenes. You wasn't working behind nothing. Your boss told you to keep your mouth shut. If you can't say something for what our ideas and our ideology of which way we going, don't say nothing at all. And that's what they did. The only one said anything was Joanne McClinton. And she putting her whole job, she putting her career on the line for something that wasn't even appreciative. They didn't appreciate her. I mean, they're going to show her. I mean, everything in this city is about reward and punishment. When their bosses tell them what to do, they do. They say keep your mouth shut, they keep their mouth shut. When they say don't talk about this and don't talk about that, they don't. No matter what you say or what you do, they do what they're told to do. This is the last of the big cities where as though you wheel and deal. Everybody else is like people have a little control of what go on. This was a lousy turnout. I mean, because why? The guy down there on Caroline Road told them, listen, here's what I'm going to give you. All I'm asking you to do is stay out of it and mind your business. And that's what they did, all of them. And look how many people get, donations from him. And all that did. It's all about that check. At the end of the day, about the yin-yang, how much they can get. They don't care about how the dumber you are, the more it's for them. They're not trying to, as long as you're dumb, can't read, write, and understand, they tutoring and they friends and all keep jobs. Because that's what this whole school thing is about, tutoring. That's all they do. It's always talking about, well, the kid is slow, we need this and that. You know why they're slow? Because purposely, intentionally, you hire people that are not equipped for the job. Charles, let me ask you a question, and I know you're very honest. Do you think that the police commissioner should stay, or do you think she should follow Farley?
Wait, ask me that question again.
Do you think that the police commissioner should stay, or do you think that she should follow Farley?
No, I think she should stay for now.
Why?
Because, I really would be curious to see now what sort of position she's in now that Vega did not win. And I wonder about that. I wonder. No, I really would be curious to see how she operates and navigates in the aftermath. Because clearly, McNesby faltered there, so he miscalculated and faltered.
But he still
so maybe he doesn't have as much control over the police commissioner as he thought he once had in the wake of this election.
Wait, how did you come to that conclusion? The point is he still has control over the police. And the police are the ones who we have to depend on.
He clearly overestimated some things when we came up to the run for this election. I mean, the whole purpose of him putting so much time and energy and resources into that election that passed on Tuesday was to, he was trying to position himself as like the next, like major, like the top premier political power broker in the city, and to cement his hold over the over institutions like the police department, to cement it even further. So I don't know. Maybe that's cracked. I'm just saying that maybe that's cracked. So I'd like to see how she'd operate in this new environment. There clearly is there's something of a new political environment after what happened on Tuesday.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I mean, on some levels, I know that there's still, it's not completely, but something happened, something beyond just Krasner getting reelected.
Listen, the point is, Charles, is this: the police still going to do what they're doing. It's only going to get worse. Remember, McNesby is their boss, okay? And
so, see, that's where we have an issue. Why is it that the chief of a union who does not get paid by taxpayer money is not hired by the person who represents, who has been duly elected by the people of Philadelphia, George, is running a government agency? I don't get that.
Well,
I have to. Why is that? That should not be happening. That is not the person who has been hired to. Who hired McNesby? Was there some official decision that was made that said, "Oh, hey, McNesby, we need you to run the Philadelphia Police Department. You're actually commissioner." To my understanding, not supposed to be any shadow commissioners of local police departments, but yet there is. Yet we have that. That, to me, that's a problem, George. I'm sorry, that's a problem.
But Charles, you're not looking at things from a realistic point.
I'm being very realistic. But I'm also looking. I'm looking at it very realistically, but I'm also looking at it from the perspective of what people are demanding and what's possible. That's how you finally get to a point where you imagine where, okay, like, I'm not particularly pleased with the current reality. I'd like to get to a new reality. Current reality is there should not be any situation, George. I mean, it's just I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything here. I'm being as, like, as realistic as you say as possible about this, but it just shouldn't be a situation. Realistically, technically, he should not be running the police department.
But he is. Charles, the point is, you keep saying what shouldn't be, but he is.
Well, that's illegal.
He's running the
Isn't that illegal?
department.
Isn't that illegal?
Who's talking about legal and illegal? That's all in the matter of
That's illegal. How is it that a union chief is running a police department? How is anyone outside of that department and outside of city government running a whole,
do you see anybody complain
one of the
about
largest big city police departments in the country? That's illegal.
Right.
That's illegal. I don't know if he knows, if
about
he understands that. Well, then maybe we need to get the Federal Justice Department in on that. Maybe the Federal Justice Department needs to come in, George. Maybe the Justice Department needs to come into Philadelphia and closely examine who controls the Philadelphia Police Department. And maybe they need to do that in other big cities as well. That's why we need that George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, I think. So I think that's where we were. We need kind of these big, bold kinds of events to happen.
It ain't going to happen.
Well, we wouldn't be where we are now. Like, okay, well then that's what we were saying. What if we had just went with some folks saying it ain't going to happen 50, 60 years ago? We wouldn't have the little bit we have now.
Can I say something, Charles? You keep saying all this here, but I'm trying to get to the point of the truth of how it really works. The point is this: he's not on paper saying that he run the police department, and none of that stuff there. The point is that the commissioner don't know what she's doing. Okay, so therefore she should be gone. You should bring somebody in here who can run the department. And the thing is, they got a problem because McNesby and Krasner got a problem. Krasner going to lock up cops that do wrong, and McNesby's job is to make sure that they get off. The second thing is that McNesby got a problem with these clowns who was in the room. He's still bitter about them clowning him in the room with the mayor and all these other people, calling them a racist and this and that and the other and blah, 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 running their mouth. So, therefore, he's going to, like, show you who's in control of what. Sometimes you have to learn to keep your mouth shut. You ever hear your parents say, it's best for a person to think you're fooled than open your mouth and remove all doubt.
I've heard that statement before. Yeah. Hey, George, I gotta let you. I actually want a little overtime here, but I appreciate it. I always appreciate the perspective you offer. And I know you're giving us a little bit of information too that we may not be privy to, and I love the exchange. So I appreciate you, George. But I gotta let you go. Let me take a break, and I'll be right back with phone lines open at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Let's go.
Hi, WURD family. My name is Kim Hall Jackson, and I am a colorectal cancer survivor. If I can convince one person to get a screening, then I know my voice is making a difference. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner and get your Fit Kid test today.
WURD Radio has partnered with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp to provide a free at-home screening test for colon cancer. All WURD listeners can register for a free at-home screening test as a part of the Go to Know campaign. This campaign is designed to provide African Americans with free testing for early colon cancer screening. Colon cancer can be prevented, and early detection saves lives. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to request your free test today.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by three of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
Okay, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 phone lines are open. The challenge here is to, figure out a way to get out of the state of mind that things are just the way they are. The challenge here is to get into a state of mind that imagines and lays out a path towards having things the way you want them to be, right? Getting to where we want to be, the type of world we imagine ourselves living in. And so that's a solutions-based discussion. We can't get too mired or dug into, okay, well, it is what it is. That's just how things are done. Okay, well, that's how things are done. All right, well, let's start talking about, and we know that we're not pleased with how things are done. So let's start talking about how things should be done or how things could be done. Okay, what does that look like? How do we get to that? That's the challenge. That's a real challenge there. That's where we have to get so that we can fix these issues and these problems. Let me go to the phone lines. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Tyrone out of North Philly calling in for a reality check. Brother Tyrone.
Hey, peace and blessings again, Brother Charles.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
How are you doing? All right.
And again, man, I just thank you for, just being who you are, man, and just sharing. First of all, peace and blessings and much love to my WURD family. But Charles, one of the things that the young lady that was speaking to you about was saying how politicians need to do more, and then, you have mentioned about, organizations and folks, everybody needs to be doing more. But Charles, I think we got to try to get folks to do more. I mean, because, see, right now, we're caught up with the same individuals are doing most, if not all, the work. And we just got too many people who just sitting on the sideline, not participating. And like I said earlier, but they're reaping all the benefits from the struggles and the wars that many of us are, involved in. But it would take some pressure off of everybody if folks would do a little more and participate a little more. And like I'm with you, Brother Charles, there's no way that we should have only had a 17.6% turnout, because it's just these elections are too critical, because the powers to be, they're still coming. And they just got things in place that we have the battle, not only trying to knock down the things that are in place, but trying to stop them from adding more onto it. And as I said earlier, November the 3rd, folks got to understand how critical that election and that win was. And we got to keep building from that win. So once again, Charles, I thank you for allowing me to share that. And I just, again, appreciate all you do, man, and keep trying to share the positive word and keep trying to keep people encouraged and inspired to do something. Thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for calling in and listening as always. Let's go back to the phone lines. We have Tiffany out of South Philly calling in for a reality check. Miss Tiffany, how are you doing?
Hi, Charles. I'm on here with Miss Betty, another Point 3 stakeholder. Hi, Charles. And we called up because we heard Kenyatta, Councilman Johnson, talk today. And
I thought about you when he was talking and when he introduced that bill. Yeah.
Right. He was on your show 2 weeks ago. So immediately after we got off your show, I sent him an email asking to meet. We have not heard back from him yet. Okay. And I just want to make the point that when Point Police call up, we're not calling up like we dazzle in distress. We're calling up because we come with our solution to the problem. We've been you our solution to our problem, one of the solutions. And we've been asking for this for a while. But yet, this other area, Graduate Hospital area, what we know over there, the only group over there that I know of at this point is a white-run RCO. And are they going to get a moratorium? We want this neighborhood preservation bill for us. We've had 3 more cases come through similar to the one case putting 42 apartments in the middle of our minority business corridor, where this is the only minority business corridor left in South Philadelphia West, okay, where we have majority African American and Asian businesses. Okay, and he's putting a 42 luxury apartment in the middle of our block. We're asking, at that point, we did a campaign called Black Point Breeds Matter. We had media coverage. We still have not heard from the councilman. You know, we find this to be hypocritical, because the reality of it is that if you really want to save your community, you say you're from South Philly, you're raised in South Philly. This is a point you make, okay? But yet, if you're from the hood or neighborhood, then save your neighborhood first. I mean, what is the problem? What you not want to give us this? So we're calling up, because I'm going to let this lady speak. We're asking for a moratorium too, because we don't want to go through the summer with no community process, no community input. And Charles, you know, we were out there talking about that by right months ago. Now, you know, now some of the councilmen are talking about it, and they see how dangerous this by right is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's the problem. We want him to come to the table and sit down with the 0.3 stakeholders and put this bill in before the summer. Nothing. Go ahead, Ms. Betty.
I agree with George. Hush. Keep your mouth shut. Don't do nothing for Point Breeze, because we have been on Councilman Johnson for years and years, and he has totally been ignoring us ever since.
We'll find out. We'll find out exactly what the status is on that. Tiffany, I'll find out, because I am real curious. I'm curious after, because he did say like, okay, hey, you know, we can sit down and we can meet. When was the last time? What was the last time again that you met with him?
I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks before that conversation we had with him here.
Yeah, I know.
We with him. We sent him an email for March for April 8th, and then the last minute we got an email saying that he had a family emergency. But
so you haven't met with him since April.
City Hall.
You haven't met with him since April.
We haven't met with him. Period. He has not come to the table at all.
Okay, so you haven't met with him. Period. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
And
okay.
and so. And this is before because
before the pandemic.
It's going to come. We have Buddy here. No, this is way before Buddy. And if we can meet in the evening, we can meet early morning, wherever he wants to do it.
Let me tell you. Okay, no, that's something I'll follow up on. I'll follow up on that, because I want to follow up on that topic anyway. Sorry, Tiffany, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got to let you go so I can take some other calls here. Let me go to Prince out of Schuylkill, who's calling in for a reality check. Prince.
Hey, Charles, how are you?
How are you doing?
Great. Hey, when you so let me just run this down real quick. You got your undergrad and your master's, right?
Yeah.
Or just the undergrad?
Who's that? Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, undergrad.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that question yesterday is to kind of show you something. You were sitting with, I guess, Tony Staten and Ryan Boyer during the union.
It's Ryan Boyer, Ernest Owens, and Tony Staten.
Okay, I'm only going to deal with
Staten.
Ryan Boyer is considered what? A union what?
Yeah, he's the business manager, head of Labor's district council.
So usually what they call, the same thing they call McNesby is what they would call Ryan Boyer. They call him, and they call Sam Staten, they call him union bosses. So would you agree with that terminology?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's anything derogatory about it. If they're a union boss, they're a union boss.
So, and then Tony Staten would be the wife of a union boss, right?
I don't know. I actually don't know their personal relationship. So, but I don't.
Yeah,
if they don't have that kind of personal relationship, I would hesitate.
I would know. So I'm just pointing information. Put it that way. So when we say
I mean that's you, but go ahead.
You sit there and you have your bachelor's degree, and these guys that you sit next to don't have any college degree, and yet they make $200,000 a year. Sam Staten don't even have a high school diploma. He make over $300,000 a year. So when George is telling you about how union bosses run this city right here, and how you assess that you would like it to be, when you have the people amongst you who you probably got more $50 words in your vocabulary than they have, but they live way better than probably you live, not personally, but can live. So the odds of us doing better in this city right here, when it is ran by people who are making money but don't have the theory on how to get it done, only leaves them the ability to employ white people. So now white people are orchestrating a plan that they want with black faces and positions. The labor union got 70% white people working in labor union. Tell me if it's 50% black people, and I would challenge you on that. And plus, I would put my money where my mouth is. So when George is talking about the city, it's ran by pastors and politicians, and it's not giving us lay people the opportunity that you are saying it should be afforded to us. Better schools, better communication, us at the table. We're not at the table. The arrogance of when Kenyatta was on your show to laugh at these women when they called him a liar, and for him not to meet with them, I would only tell them if they wait a minute, then they can go down federal court and watch him win, because he's already indicted, so he's gonna get locked up soon. So you can probably get your community back if they don't transfer it over the Rhett Jordan boy. You know what I mean? So we're asking for help when we call you, Charles. We're asking for help when we call this station, period. Because we're unapologetic.
I know that, Prince, but I'm just trying to encourage. Okay, I understand what the problems are, and I do appreciate when people point out the problems, but I'm not going to encourage a conversation where we talk about the problems or do problem identification ad nauseum in perpetuity. At some point in the conversation, Prince, I mean, for God's sake, it's got to get to, okay, well, what's the plan to make it better? I mean, I think I offer enough time and enough latitude for someone like you or for someone like George to lay out how severe and how bad the problem is. That is useful. That is very helpful. Don't get me wrong. I say that with all sincerity. That is very useful. But at a certain point, right, don't you think, okay, well, let's have a conversation about, let's imagine, how do we get out of this fix we're in? It doesn't, I have people, giving birthday salutations to Malcolm X, to Brother Malcolm X since yesterday, but Brother Malcolm X was all about solutions. Like, some of the same people doing birthday salutations to Brother Malcolm are these people who want to be just mired in, like, collective self-pity and just want to talk about, well, it is what it is. It's just, let's tell you how things are. So, no, I absolutely hear where you're coming from, Prince. I do. I really do. And sometimes, if you're not noticing, I'm channeling that same frustration and that anger. I come from where you're coming from or where George is coming from. But I'm just of the state of mind. I got to a point, I went through an evolution as a person where I'm like, okay, I don't want to talk about, at a certain point, you have to do a cutoff on the problem identification piece. And then you get to the problem resolution. Okay, how do we fix this? Okay, let's have a conversation about, let's come up with some ideas, some plans, a map to how to arrive at the light at the end of the tunnel, or the promised land, or whatever you want to call it. That's all I'm saying. It's not me dismissing what you're saying, and I'm really not dismissing what George is saying. Although I do have a problem with a union boss running a government agency. Last I checked, that's illegal. So if like, and that should be talked about. And so how do we fix that? Particularly when you've got, in about a day, we're going to have 200 people murdered officially in the city of Philadelphia. And we're not even in the summer yet. I got another person here on Facebook Live. Why cut off an important caller who had something? I gave Sister Tiffany over a few minutes to describe, and I completely empathize with her cause. And yeah, I'm going to check up on it. Like, okay, well, there was a promise to meet with her and her group with Point Breeze residents to talk about these issues regarding zoning. So it had gotten to the point where, she had made her point. And so, we had to get on to the next set of listeners. All right, let me go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back with open phone lines. Stay tuned here on Reality Check.
The Sankofa Freedom Academy Charter School is an African-centered public freedom school that is looking for experienced, certified teachers in kindergarten through 12th grade for the 2021-22 school year. These positions are full-time and come with full health, vision, dental, and retirement benefits. Salary is comparable to the School District of Philadelphia. Interested parties should send their resume and cover letter via email to careers@sfacs.us. For more information, visit sfacs.us.
Tune in this Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. for the Islam Today show, with a perspective on moral guidance and Islamic principles and values.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
All right, let me get to Sister Murray out of Northern Liberties, who's been waiting patiently for a reality check. Sister Murray?
Hi, Charles. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking my call. God bless everyone at WURD and all the listeners and family members. Charles, first I want to say you guys are awesome, totally awesome. you guys embrace. You've taken so much. It has to be an outlet. But Charles, we are dealing with so many situations. We're dealing with a pandemic that has killed so many people. We can never forget the president that we had that has caused so many lives to be lost, so many children to have to go through therapy, psychiatrists. You know, Charles, I used to talk about what my career is, what I'm going to do, ambitious. And now most of my friends I talk to, they're talking about psychiatrists, that they need to go talk, they need to get help. You know, they haven't done enough to help us, the people. We listen. You guys did an awesome job of doing everything that you're doing. You know, the city has not cleaned up these streets. I didn't never see them washing down the streets, spraying the streets, cleaning up. You want us to take off our masks, okay? The people not vaccinated.
No.
Okay, people have died. I have lost so many people. And I know people that lost people. I know people who caught it. But, Charles, let me tell you something. We need to stay focused. They're asking you to get vaccinated and get a bottle of alcohol, a shot of liquor. Liquor was the biggest thing that they have promoted through this entire pandemic. You know, they shut down everybody's business. But guess what? They sold alcohol. So, what they want us to do? No. Let me tell you something. I keep my membership at WURD. I'm going to keep it. I always ask everybody, get your membership, listen to WURD, because you need to know what's going on around your neighborhood and in your life, okay? Because you ain't going to get it from listening to all that crazy music. Our young folks need to listen up. You know, they need to take and listen to these older people. How do you think that we got to get to where we are today? Okay, we listen to our grandparents. We listen to our parents. You know, we're dealing with a whole different generation. Listen, Charles, Broad Street, if they don't get some cops on Broad Street, we're going to have a real problem. It is a danger zone. You cannot drive down Broad Street without a car cutting you off, two cars on the side of you. And Charles, you hear this. Now, I want the world to listen to this. My 5-year-old granddaughter said to me, Grandma, am I going to die before I turn 6? Now, do you know how I felt? So, do you know the pain that I felt? Look, they better get to do something in the city on Broad Street and stop these fools who have lost their freaking way and don't know God and save our children. If my granddaughter is concerned about losing her life at the age of 5, Charles, 5 years old, she said, Grandma, am I going to die before I turn 6? Come on! Let's go! Get it together! We need help. We need help, Charles. And I know it's a lot for you to endure, but I cannot take my granddaughter saying, am I going to die? Literally, I'm driving about my business of playing tennis off, guys running around with guns. Am I going to die? Am I going to die? No.
Yeah. She shouldn't have to ask a question like that, right? No, you're right. You okay, Sister Murray? You okay? You there?
I'm okay. I just need the world to know that this is what we're dealing with in the city of Philadelphia on Broad Street. You cannot even just drive down Broad Street like you used to and just be okay. You got cars that just shoot past you doing 100. Like if you hit somebody, you're going to kill them. You know what I mean? You got cars running around with guns, shooting at chasing each other on Broad Street, literally in daylight on Saturday on Broad Street. People howling out their cars saying, hey, they got guns. They're chasing each other. Charles, they can do better than this. They can do better.
We can do better than this.
We need help. We need help, Charles.
No.
Look, God bless you. Bless everyone in the city. Don't let them chase you out this city. Stay here and fight for what you got. What you work for is yours. Charles, we need help. God bless you.
All right. please be well. Please be well, Sister Murray, and be safe. Stay safe and keep your children and your granddaughter safe. So yeah, because the grandchildren should not be no children should be exposed to that kind of trauma, or should be forced to ask those kinds of questions, or feel that the type of chaos that we see around us is something normal. None of this is normal. None of this is the standard. Like, it's just we need to stop accepting a lot of these things we see around us unraveling around us. We need to stop accepting it as a standard, as a thing. It's not. Please hang in there, Sister Murray. I appreciate you calling in. And I appreciate you being so candid and just sharing that with us. I know that's very difficult for you. I'm being told that Councilman Kenyatta Johnson is scheduled to have a meeting with the Point Breeze stakeholders next Wednesday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. So I'm not sure where that meeting is. I don't know if it's in person or if it is virtual, but that's what I'm being told now. By Zoom. So he's scheduled to have a meeting. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, Sister and Tiffany, who were called in earlier, but that's at least what we're being told, that Councilman Johnson is scheduled to have a meeting with the Point Breeze stakeholders next Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So that's what we know. That's what we know right now, just after finding that out and getting reaching out and finding out exactly whether or not a meeting has been scheduled. So I hope that works out. But please continue to keep us updated and keep us posted on how that develops. 215-634. While we've got about another 5 or 6 minutes to go here on Reality Check after transitioning out of City Council Live. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Probably tomorrow we will hit 200, more than likely we'll hit 200 murders, homicides in the city of Philadelphia to date. So right now it's at 199 homicides in the city of Philadelphia so far in 2021. That is 40% more than what we had in 2020. I want to see, just because of a change in the political landscape, I want to see now, I'm curious, and I know there are other people out there who are curious, how the current police commissioner, Danielle Outlaw, operates. Does this give her a little bit more wiggle room, in terms of just, I'm curious about that. So I kind of I try to be realistic, and I look at, current political realities with the current situation is on the ground. But, I also like the game theory. I also like to think outside of the box and think about, okay, well, other things, that could be happening, other things that could factor in, and ultimately getting to a point where we are at a place we imagine ourselves being in, or that we would desire, that we would prefer. So let's see what happens, and go from there. The police commissioner she's way past her honeymoon period. She's got some serious problems. She's going to need to learn how to communicate a bit more boldly and more openly with the community she serves, and she's got to do something about the homicide department. So the homicide department, homicide detectives, and city council also needs to more thoroughly explore the police department's budget, and particularly the budget of an underperforming homicide division at the Philadelphia Police Department. Like, we're not having that conversation enough. So it's just because that's just a set, especially when we're at 200 homicides, and we're about to hit 800 non-fatal firearm injuries in the city of Philadelphia, and that's also mounting up. That's accumulating lost economic productivity for the city as well. So remember, last year in 2020, city of Philadelphia lost $1 billion worth of economic productivity because of the 500 people killed and the over 3,000, in fact, nearly 3,500 people shot. That's an accumulated economic cost. It's an economic impact. So the city is on track to lose even more in economic productivity, You know, already had the pandemic, but then you've got, you know, federal pandemic relief came in, and so it's taking care of the deficit. Also, it's going to give you enough money to keep an operating budget going for the next 3 years. But, you know, there's just so much more, there's so much more abundance to be realized, you know, without this violence, and so without the crisis that we're going through. So how do we get there? And yeah, you know, you want to, if people who are going through that, you want to hear like a full, you're open to, you'd be tolerant of a full 3-hour city council live session where city council members are having, are delivering impassioned, spirited remarks, speeches, and having spirited, impassioned debate about ideas as to how we can fix the city. Like, I know that listeners, faithful listeners of City Council Live of WURD are looking for that. That's what they would tolerate that. It would be like, you know, yeah, let's see, like, what do you all have? What have you got? And so, you know, people feel let down and disappointed in so many ways these days. And so, you know, we'll continue to have these conversations, and we'll just continue. We here at WURD will just continue to be a platform for you to voice your concerns, just like Sister Murray was doing just a few moments ago, and Sister and Tiffany and Brothers George and Brothers Prince. I appreciate them too. You know, definitely not ignoring and not dismissing what you're telling me. I'm registering it. I completely understand. I appreciate it. But I just really want to get to, I want to transition from, we got to transition from problem identification to problem resolution. How do we get there? All right. That wraps this Thursday edition of Reality Check. As you know, I'm off tomorrow on Fridays, but I will be back, God willing, on Monday, 10 a.m. sharp. The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders is coming up next here on WURD. Keep your radio dial locked in so you can get into The Source. I want to thank Troy Wilmore as well on the board of steel. I want to thank everyone for listening, and you know, stay sharp, stay smart, but more importantly, just please, everyone, stay safe out there, and keep the young ones safe too, and tell the young ones to keep themselves safe and to keep each other safe. So we really need to do that in these really hard and difficult times. We'll talk more about it next week here on Reality Check. I'm at Ellison Report on Twitter.com, #RealityCheck. All right, everyone, have a fine day. Have a fine rest of the weekend. I hope to see you on Monday. Take care.